Hey everyone, welcome back.
Always a pleasure to be back.
I was thinking
Yeah.
life can be a real roller coaster sometimes,
Oh, tell me about it.
and keeping that motivation engine running
Especially when things get tough.
exactly can feel impossible.
Yeah.
So today we're diving deep
Deep dive. I like it.
into some really cool strategies for staying motivated. Even when things get rough, we'll be drawing some inspiration from,
Talk with Isaac.
yes,
Bleh.
Talk with Isaac. That show always has some great insights.
Isaac always has such a unique perspective on motivation. It's like he gets it.
Totally. And one thing that really stood out to me was this idea
Huh.
about embracing the struggle.
Embracing the struggle.
It sounds kind of counterintuitive.
It does. We
Yes.
usually try to avoid difficult stuff.
Right. But on the show, Isaac was suggesting that challenges,
He was saying that they're like pressure cookers for growth,
pressure cookers for growth. I like that.
like diamonds.
Ooh, I see what you mean.
Right. Formed under intense pressure.
Yeah, that's a good one. So we should be looking at challenges as opportunities.
Definitely. He even suggests like flipping the script completely.
Oh, how so?
Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask.
What can I learn from this?
Exactly.
Whoa, that's a powerful shift in perspective.
It is.
I can see how that would make you feel more empowered.
Absolutely.
But sometimes, honestly, I'm facing this huge hurdle, and
I know what you mean.
it's hard to even know where to begin.
You feel stuck.
Yeah, like totally paralyzed. Does Talk with Isaac offer any
Oh, they totally do.
advice for those overwhelming moments?
They dive into the concept of setting micro goals.
Micro goals.
It's like if you're trying to climb Mount Everest,
Okay, I'm with you.
if you focus on the whole climb,
That could be super daunting.
daunting, you'd probably give up before you even started.
Right.
So instead of getting bogged down by the enormity of it,
You break it down.
break it down
Yeah.
into smaller, more manageable chunks.
Micro goals. I got it. So even if we're not literally climbing Mount Everest, this strategy could still be useful.
Absolutely. For everyday things,
Yeah.
like cleaning your house.
Okay, yeah, that's a good example.
Instead of feeling overwhelmed by the whole house, set a micro goal.
Like clean one room.
Exactly. Or even just a drawer.
It's about tricking our brains a little.
A little bit. Yeah. Just get started.
Because once you get going,
you create momentum, and then you actually want to keep going.
you're so right. That initial push is the hardest part. But what about when even micro goals don't cut it? Like, you just hit a wall.
When you just feel totally drained,
Totally.
that's where the power of why comes in.
Ooh, why? Tell me more.
Talk with Isaac really emphasizes this.
They do.
It's all about connecting with the deeper purpose behind what you're doing.
So your why is like your driving force.
Exactly. And Isaac, he shares this simple technique.
Okay, what is it?
Write down your why.
Write it down.
Got it. And keep it somewhere visible, like a reminder.
So that when you hit a roadblock, you remember your why.
You got it.
I like that. Okay, so we've got embracing the struggle, breaking down goals, and remembering our why. What else does Talk with Isaac suggest?
Well, this might seem obvious, but it's important.
Go on.
The people we surround ourselves with.
Oh, you mean like our environment?
Exactly. Think about it. If you're constantly around negativity,
It's going to drag you down for sure.
it will. But if you have people who believe in you,
It can make all the difference.
all the difference. Support is so crucial.
So it's like having a personal cheering section.
That cheering section, I love that. And sometimes just having someone to listen
Just to listen?
can help you get unstuck.
See things in a new light.
A new perspective.
It's so true. But asking for help can be hard.
It can be. But Talk with Isaac really emphasizes the importance of it.
They do.
They talk about vulnerability and reaching out for support when you need it.
It's not a sign of weakness.
Not at all. It's actually a sign of strength
Recognizing that you need help.
and allowing others to help you.
It's about building those authentic connections.
Exactly. And, life isn't always smooth sailing.
True.
We all face setbacks.
So how does Talk with Isaac suggest we handle those?
Well, they share this great quote from Thomas Edison. It's about reframing failure.
Oh, what's the quote?
I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work.
10,000 ways that won't work. I love that.
Right. It changes your whole perspective on setbacks.
It makes them seem less like the end of the world.
Exactly. Setbacks are inevitable.
But there are also opportunities to learn.
To grow and become more resilient.
So instead of getting discouraged, we can choose to view them as feedback.
as data points that help us improve.
I'm starting to feel more excited about tackling tough stuff.
That's the spirit. It's
Yeah.
all about cultivating the right mindset.
And remembering we don't have to do it alone.
Building that support system is key.
This has been so insightful. I feel like I've already got some powerful tools to stay motivated.
I'm glad. And there's still so much more to unpack from Talk with Isaac.
Really?
We'll be back in a moment to dive even deeper into these fascinating concepts.
Sounds great. Can't wait.
So before the break, we were talking about setbacks.
Yeah, and how they can actually be valuable.
Incredibly valuable, even though they're frustrating, of course.
Of course. It's like that saying, fail forward.
Right. But Talk with Isaac takes it a step further.
How so?
They actually provide real strategies for extracting wisdom from those setbacks.
So it's not just like learn from your mistakes and move on.
No, it's about actively turning those setbacks into something positive.
Okay, I like that. What kind of strategies?
Well, one thing they suggest is treating setbacks as data points.
The data points, what do you mean?
Like instead of getting all emotional about a failure,
Yeah.
approach it with curiosity, like a scientist.
Okay. Like a scientist conducting an experiment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Analyze what happened.
So asking yourself, what worked, what didn't?
And most importantly, what can I adjust next time?
Interesting. I can see how that would be helpful.
Talk with Isaac even recommends keeping a failure journal.
A failure journal.
Yeah, like a notebook.
Yeah.
To document your setbacks and the lessons learned.
So you can refer back to it later.
Exactly. And use those lessons to fuel your future growth.
Wow, that's a really cool idea. I never thought about journaling specifically for setbacks.
It can be super powerful. It's all about reframing those negative experiences into something positive and constructive.
I like that. Turning those lemons into lemonade.
Exactly. Setbacks are just a part of the process. Sometimes those detours lead to something even better.
It's a good point. Reminds me of something else Isaac talked about.
Yeah.
Celebrating progress.
Celebrating progress. That's so important.
Even the small wins.
Absolutely. We get so caught up in striving for the next big thing that we forget to acknowledge how far we've come.
It's like we're always focused on what's ahead.
Right. We never take the time to look back and appreciate the distance we've covered.
That's a good analogy. So how do we change that?
Isaac suggests keeping a victory log.
Okay, a victory log. What's that?
A place where you record all your achievements, no matter how small.
So like a journal for all the good stuff.
Exactly. It could be finishing a tough project, learning a new skill, or even just sticking to a healthy habit for a week.
It's like creating a visual reminder of all the amazing things you've accomplished.
Right. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. A simple notebook, or even just a note on your phone.
I think that's a great idea. It's so easy to forget all the wins along the way.
Exactly. It's all about making a habit of celebrating those wins.
And you don't have to celebrate alone. Isaac encourages sharing your wins with your support system.
Those friends, mentors, online communities. Share the good news.
It's like having a cheerleading squad for your life.
I love that. Celebrating all those milestones, big and small. And those celebrations don't have to be extravagant.
Like, it could be something simple.
Right, like treating yourself to a nice coffee. Or taking a relaxing bath.
It's all about acknowledging and appreciating your efforts.
And giving yourself permission to feel good about your progress.
I'm really enjoying how Talk with Isaac combines all these different elements. Mindset, goals, purpose, support systems, self-care.
It's a holistic approach to staying motivated.
And it's not about finding that one magic solution.
No, it's a combination of strategies working together.
I think that's why their approach is so effective.
It's about creating a supportive environment that nurtures your motivation, both internally and externally.
I like that. Nurturing your motivation.
Yeah.
So let's bring this back to resilience. How does all this advice contribute to building resilience?
Well, resilience is about bouncing back from setbacks, adapting to change, and all the strategies we've talked about help build those resilient muscles.
So it's not about avoiding challenges altogether.
No, it's about learning to navigate them effectively.
Like learning to surf.
Exactly. You can't control the waves.
But you can learn to ride them.
Right. And the more you practice, the better you get at it.
As we continue our deep dive into Talk with Isaac, I'm curious, what are some specific strategies for building resilience?
Well, they talk a lot about cultivating a growth mindset.
A growth mindset.
It's all about embracing challenges as opportunities to learn and grow.
Instead of seeing them as threats.
Right. Obstacles become stepping stones, but how do we actually cultivate that mindset?
Yeah, is it something we're born with, or can we develop it?
Talk with Isaac addresses this directly. They suggest several strategies.
Okay, I'm interested.
One that really resonated with me was the power of reframing our self-talk.
Reframing our self-talk, what does that mean?
It's about becoming aware of those negative thoughts.
You know, the ones that creep in when we face a challenge.
The "I can't do this" thoughts.
Or I'm not good enough.
Exactly. And then consciously choosing to challenge those thoughts.
So instead of saying I'm a failure,
You say, "I'm still learning."
or I'm capable of overcoming this.
You got it. It's like changing the channel in your mind.
From negativity to possibility,
Exactly. Of course, it takes practice.
like anything worthwhile.
Right. But the more we do it, the more natural it becomes.
It's like training a muscle,
Exactly. We're training our mental muscles.
so we can be stronger and more resilient. What other strategies does Talk with Isaac recommend?
Well, they emphasize the importance of self-care.
Self-care. It's so important, but so easy to neglect.
It is. But think of it like this. You need to put on your own oxygen mask before you can help others.
Okay, I see what you mean. If we're not taking care of ourselves, we can't show up fully for anything else.
Exactly. And self-care can look different for everyone.
So what does Talk with Isaac suggest?
They talk about the basics like sleep, diet, and exercise.
Of course.
But they also go deeper into things like mindfulness and stress management techniques,
Like meditation.
meditation, deep breathing, finding what works for you,
I like that. It's about tailoring it to your individual needs.
and starting small, focusing on one area at a time.
So if you're always tired, focus on sleep first.
Exactly. Or if you're feeling overwhelmed, try incorporating a 5-minute meditation into your day.
Small changes can make a big difference.
They really can. And remember, self-care is not selfish.
It's self-preservation.
Exactly. It allows us to show up for ourselves and for others.
And to be more resilient in the face of challenges.
Right. And Talk with Isaac also talks about the importance of connection and community.
We're not meant to go through life alone.
Exactly. Having a support system can make all the difference. But those connections take effort.
Any tips for nurturing those relationships?
They recommend being proactive, reach out to people, schedule time for connection, and be a good listener.
Those are good reminders. We can get so busy that we forget to nurture those important relationships.
It's worth the effort. Those connections give life meaning.
I completely agree. You know, it's fascinating how all these different things we've discussed work together.
It's like an ecosystem.
An ecosystem for resilience.
Exactly. Mindset, goals, purpose, support systems, self-care, they all play a part.
And it's not a one-time fix.
Resilience is an ongoing process.
Of growth and adaptation.
Exactly. It's a journey.
Wow. This has been such a rich conversation. I feel like I've learned so much from Talk with Isaac.
Me too. And there's still more to explore.
Really?
In the next part, we'll dive into some of Isaac's more unconventional strategies for staying motivated.
Unconventional strategies, you say? I'm intrigued.
Welcome back, everyone.
I'm ready for more Talk with Isaac.
Me too. It's been a great deep dive so far.
Before the break, you mentioned Isaac has some unconventional strategies for staying motivated.
Oh, yeah, he does. Some really interesting ones.
Well, don't keep me in suspense.
Okay. Well, one that really stood out to me was embracing boredom.
Embracing boredom. That sounds, well, kind of boring.
I know, right? But hear me out. Isaac makes a really good point about the creative power of boredom.
Okay, well, listening.
Yeah.
I'll admit I usually try to avoid boredom at all costs.
Most of us do. But Isaac suggests carving out time for unstructured activities.
Unstructured, so no plans, no agenda.
Exactly. It could be something like going for a walk in nature, but without any specific destination in mind.
Just wandering around.
Yeah, or even just sitting quietly, observing your surroundings.
I guess I can see how that could be helpful. It's like giving your mind a break from all the noise.
Exactly. Our brains are constantly bombarded with information and stimulation.
Yeah, it's hard to escape it these days.
And Isaac points out that this constant input can actually drain our creative energy.
So we need to give our brains a chance to recharge.
Exactly. And sometimes the best ideas come to us when we're not even trying.
Like when you're in the shower or doing the dishes.
Exactly. It's like those moments when your mind is free to wander.
So embracing boredom isn't about being lazy or unproductive.
No, it's about creating space for inspiration to strike.
Okay, I'm starting to see the value in boredom now. What else does Isaac recommend?
Well, he also talks about the power of playfulness.
Playfulness.
You know, like tapping into that childlike sense of wonder and curiosity.
I like that. We could all use a little more play in our lives.
Definitely. And Isaac suggests incorporating play into our work, too.
How do you mean?
It could be something like experimenting with new approaches or brainstorming with colleagues in a fun, lighthearted way.
Or just finding ways to make your daily tasks more enjoyable.
Exactly. Injecting a little bit of joy and humor can go a long way.
So it's not about taking our work less seriously.
No, it's about approaching it with a more playful attitude, which can actually boost our creativity and productivity.
Interesting. Speaking of productivity, I know Talk with Isaac had something to say about procrastination.
Oh, yeah, he had a really interesting take on it.
Okay, lay it on me. Procrastination is my biggest struggle.
Well, Isaac suggests that maybe we shouldn't be so quick to label procrastination as the enemy.
Wait, what?
He says it might actually be a signal that something else is going on.
Like what?
Maybe we need to reevaluate our priorities or our approach to a particular task.
So instead of beating myself up for procrastinating, I should try to understand why I'm doing it.
Exactly. Explore the underlying reasons. Maybe you're feeling overwhelmed, uninspired, or just lacking clarity about what needs to be done.
That makes a lot of sense. If we can figure out the root cause, we can address it more effectively.
Right. And sometimes the solution might be as simple as breaking down a task into smaller chunks or delegating parts of it.
Or even just acknowledging that it's not the right time to tackle it and giving yourself permission to put it on hold for a bit.
Exactly. It's all about being kind to yourself and working with your energy levels, not against them.
This is making me feel so much better about my procrastination habits.
Me too. It takes the pressure off.
So instead of viewing procrastination as this horrible thing, we need to avoid at all
Or
costs.
we can see it as an opportunity for self-reflection and growth.
I love that perspective. It seems like Talk with Isaac is all about encouraging us to be more mindful and compassionate with ourselves.
I think you're right. It's not about striving for perfection. It's about embracing our imperfections and figuring out how to work with them, not against them.
And finding a way to stay motivated and productive that feels good and sustainable.
Exactly. It's about finding what works best for you.
This deep dive has been so enlightening. I feel like I have a whole new set of tools for staying motivated and resilient.
Me too. And remember, it's a journey.
There will be ups and downs,
But the important thing is to keep learning and growing.
and to embrace the adventure along the way.
Well said.
Thank you so much for joining us today for this deep dive into Talk with Isaac. It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
Likewise.
We hope you found this episode helpful and inspiring. And until next time, keep those motivation engines running.